Just a wrap up of the work session and the council meeting for the City of Grand Rapids for September 14th, 2020. One of the big things at the work session this afternoon was to review our preliminary budget, and there's good news, bad news. I think the good news is as we look at our preliminary budget, the city is growing and property values and stuff are going up. So one of the things that we will be looking into doing over the next few months is deciding on where that levy would be. I think at the high end, the levy would be kept the same as last year, and at the low end, we could be seeing a reduction in levy of about 2.21% from the standpoint of what we would levy to our residents for the city's portion of your property tax statements that will be coming out. The key to all of this is going to be what happens at the state level with COVID and everything that's going on. I think it's important to know and to understand that we may get reductions in LGA back from the state that would impact us. If we keep the levy as is for one more year without a levy increase, that gives us some flexibility until we know about lowering the levy. We could absorb up to $400,000 and $435,000 of reduction in LGA from the state of Minnesota without having to go through and look for additional revenue sources. So we're in the process of working through that over the next few months here, but stay tuned and we will keep you as the public informed on how that is going. But the good news is for right now, you will not see a levy increase above where we were last year. It could go down, but it will not go up. At the regular council meeting this afternoon, just a couple of things that I wanted to touch on from the consent agenda. We adopted a resolution authorizing closing capital projects fund and transferring part of that balance to some other ones, to the capital project municipal state aid and to the capital project infrastructure for CP 2020 FD, so which is the fire department. Grand Rapids was fortunate in that they received some grant and some CARES Act money for the reconstruction of a runway at the Grand Rapids airport. So with the FAA, one of the things that was looked at, there's about $4 million project of upgrading that one runway out there, literally with no participation. Normally we would have 10% participation, 90% from the FAA and 10% split evenly, 5% from the city, 5% from the county. But with CARES funding available to cover part of that, we will be doing this project totally with CARES and FAA money. So once again, a little over $4 million going to go into upgrading the airport in Grand Rapids. One of the things that did come up is we are going to look at approving some employees for the winter seasons. We are looking at an intern at the fire hall as part of a school program that he is at, and we ordered a change order for the Riverside Park lighting project. Going into a little bit about the fire department under our regular agenda, we looked at a resolution awarding bids. Bids came in this afternoon, or this morning to be exact, at 10 o'clock on 3 phases of work on the fire hall, the new fire hall on the south side of Grand Rapids. So work scope 1 was awarded to TNT in the amount of $1,698,000. Work scope number 2 was awarded to Northern Industrial Erectors in a total amount of $197,000. And work scope number 3 was awarded to McDowell Company in the amount of $344,700. All of these are within the ranges that we were looking at as we continue to move down that path of having a new fire hall on the south side of town by the June 30th of next year, so that the county can tear down our existing fire hall in their expansion of the new jail. We did go into a public hearing this evening, looking at reviewing our proposed 2020 to 2024 street reconstruction plan. Barb Baird gave a report on where we are at, and City Administrator Pagal talked a little bit about some of the projects, and what we were looking at is this doesn't lock us in, but it does lock us in on what we're doing in the 2020, 2021 construction season next year. But like anything else, we do not want to lock a future council up into some of these. So we approve it on a 5-year, and we come back and we revisit it on a yearly basis. And you either add to or subtract or modify what we're looking at from the standpoint of street reconstruction within the city of Grand Rapids. But for now, we have adopted the amended street reconstruction plan for the city of Grand Rapids from 2020 to 2024, not to exceed $2,375,000. With that, we are looking forward to meeting and getting together again in 2 weeks. So on September 28th for our council meeting. But in the interim, I would encourage you to, school is back in, and I know that there are some issues out there from a parking and pickup standpoint at some of the schools. In fact, all 3 of the grade schools having some issues, and they will work through them. So I ask residents out there to please have some patience as they're going. And the last thing we want to do is somebody a little hasty based on they've waited for a period of time to pick their little one up, and it's caused someone else to have some hardship out there from the standpoint of an accident. So please have some patience and understand that the school district is working through their issues and stuff, and at some point in time, they will be resolved. But with that, once again, I encourage you to get out. We've still got some nice fall weather. I've noticed that the leaves are starting to turn. Go out and take a ride. You know, we've got some beautiful roads and potential driving distances that you can go in and around the Grand Rapids area over the next few weeks, where you can start seeing some of the fall color. One of the things that we like up in the north is the changing of the season. So get out and enjoy the weather as we get ready to prepare for that ugly word winter that's going to be upon us all too soon. With that, thank you and have a good evening.